I filmed an entire trip to Japan without once looking like an obnoxious tourist. I scrambled down hiking trails, captured a hummingbird, and filmed POV food tastings as if I was some sort of food influencer. And I did all of it without pulling my phone out of my pocket. These are the Ray-Ban Metas, and AI glasses are officially the new shiny new toy in tech. And today, I want to give you my real, honest thoughts after using them for a few years, and if they're actually worth it. I'll cover what they're great at, I'll cover what they suck at, and I also want to talk about some genuine privacy concerns you should know about before buying. Let's get into it. So beyond being a pair of sunglasses, what do these things actually do? Well, the big one is the built-in camera. You can take photos and film POV video completely hands-free. And there are two main models. You have the Gen 1s and then you got the Gen 2, and Meta were very kind and sent both of them out to me. But they didn't ask for a review or anything. It was kind of like a gift. So I'm just reviewing these because I think they're interesting. The Gen 1 can record video at 1080p while the Gen 2 can bump that up to 3K. And both have a 12 megapixel still camera. There's also the new Oakley Metas, which are more like a sporty version for action sports. You've also got built-in speakers for music, podcasts, and phone calls. And then there's the AI, and you can say, hey Meta, what vegetable is this? And you've got a voice assistant that can actually tap into the camera and see what you're looking at, but more of that in a second. But let's talk about my favorite feature. The camera, because this is the best thing about the glasses in my opinion. I'm a keen gardener, so my hands are usually dirty, I've got gloves on, and usually I don't have my phone on me, but being able to tap a button on the side of the glasses and just say, hey Meta, start recording is a really useful feature, and I've been using it a lot and absolutely love it. I just have an absolute stack of gardening footage because it's just really fun to film that perspective. I love filming my garden harvest, and the POV perspective just makes for some really fun content. And I think for things like cooking, gardening, and hiking, that's where that hands-free POV perspective really shines. Image quality is an iPhone level, but the colors are nice, and I find it's more than good enough for posting to Instagram stories or reels, because to be honest, that's what we're really using it for. And I challenged myself and took them on a trip to Japan recently. I filmed POV food tastings, scrambled down hiking trails hands-free, and captured everything without looking like an obnoxious tourist with a camera in everyone's face, because I really tried to be in the moment. I don't want to be constantly getting out my camera, and you find yourself looking at the screen of what you're filming rather than what you're actually looking at. I find you're still in the moment and enjoying what you're looking at, but you're just pressing a button and recording it at the same time. And I got way too carried away with all the food tasting videos. I think it was just lots of fun. And sometimes it's just about speed. When I was in San Francisco for Meta Connect, I spotted a hummingbird. I was very, very excited. We don't have them in Australia. And before I even got a chance to whip out my phone, I was like filming with my Ray-Ban Metas because it was only there for a couple of seconds, but I was able to capture it. But one limitation to keep in mind though is that video is capped at 3 minutes per clip. You can also live stream on these things as well. There's limitations there like battery and I think certain apps and video length as well. And everything syncs wirelessly to the app on your phone. It imports directly to your camera roll if you wish, or you can even post it directly to Instagram if you want. The speakers are actually better than I expected. Like I would happily listen to music or podcasts with these things. And I find that you could be listening to a podcast and the person next to you has no idea. So they're not picking up on the speakers either. And I find for like dog walks or gardening, it's really useful not having to carry another device. But one big frustration I have with these though is that the glasses sync with your phone notifications, and having them bleep and talk to you while you're out and about and mid-conversation with someone is really, really annoying. Like I'll be talking to someone and all of a sudden in my ear it's like, you've got a message on Messenger. So-and-so said this, and I'm someone, I can't focus on two things. Like I really, really hate it. So you can turn it off, especially reading out the messages. I really wish there was like a different profile settings, because when I'm gardening, I want to get my messages in case something important comes up. But yeah, something to consider, that the notifications can be really useful or really annoying. And the AI, honestly, I'd be fine if this feature barely existed. It's kind of like Siri on your iPhone. It's like there and it technically works, but it never really feels necessary. And Meta is really pushing it hard. Like in all their advertising, they're all pushing that AI stuff, where I feel like the camera stuff is way more interesting. That being said though, it can still be pretty useful. It can identify objects, set alarms, make phone calls, and also send texts. And one feature that came out after I returned from my Japan trip is that you get real-time sign and text translation. So if you're looking at a sign and it's in a different language, you can say, hey Meta, translate this for me, and it'll tell you what it says, which really, really cool feature and would have been so handy on my Japan trip. So I'll definitely be taking these with me on my next overseas trip. And they are continuing to roll out other features as well. I think there's like a noise focus or conversation focus mode. So if you're in a conversation with someone and you're struggling to hear them, you can turn it on and it kind of blocks out the background noise so you can hear them a bit better. I wasn't able to get this feature working. I don't know if it's in beta or not available in my country, but again, that could be really useful, especially people who may have disabilities or anything like that. There's also other features in these for people who are vision impaired as well, which is really cool. So I think as tech enthusiasts, there's really interesting tech there, but I think sometimes it's important to also highlight that technology like this can be life-changing for some people with disabilities. So no matter what you feel about AI, the potential is there. It's just let down by execution and the app. And speaking of the app for these used to be really clean and a simple tool to manage your glasses and sync footage, but now it's the Meta AI app, and the glasses stuff is buried in a tiny corner. So you have to open up the Meta AI app, get hit with waves of crappy AI slop and like half nude celebrities, because that's what people like to generate, and then you gotta navigate your way to the devices tab and manage everything through there. So I just wish they kept stuff separate. They did the same thing with Meta Horizon World, had the Meta VR store, and then they just shoved Meta Horizon down your throat, and it's like, I just want to play VR games, I don't want this stuff, but they just keep pushing it. But anyway, don't get me started on a rant or we'll be here all day. One important thing to consider is the lenses. When I got the Gen 1s, I got given the transition lenses, and as an Australian, they were basically useless. Like as sunglasses, they don't really cut out glare. I couldn't use them driving or for a full day outside. That's a big part of why I barely use them. And then when I got the Gen 2s, I got the polarized graphite lenses, and they're actually so good. The lenses are better than my other pair of sunglasses that I spent like $300 on. So I'm really impressed with these, and I've started using them a lot more because of that. And I feel like I don't want to use these indoors. Like for me, they're a pair of sunglasses with a cool feature of filming things outside. But I know lots of people who do wear them as their everyday glasses if they do need glasses. So I recommend thinking carefully about what lenses you want before ordering. You can also get them with prescription lenses, or you can pick up third-party lenses online, and I know plenty of people that go that route, and they may be better quality as well. Comfort of these is decent, but not perfect for all-day wear. I find after a full day, I get pain behind the back of my ears, and I also get marks like on my nose bridge. It doesn't hurt, but I just always have a mark here. It's definitely manageable, but worth knowing. Now, battery has improved from Gen 1 to Gen 2. On a heavy use day on the Gen 1s in Japan, they were kind of dead by 1 p.m, whereas the Gen 2s last about 8 hours or 5 hours of active use. And I find I charge these kind of every 2 to 3 days. I think that's the biggest factor between deciding whether you want the Gen 1s or the Gen 2s. The camera differences are barely noticeable, to be honest. Like I wouldn't be able to tell them apart. So it really comes down to battery life on which ones you purchase, in my opinion. They also come with a charging case that holds extra charge, which is a really cool feature. So if you're out and about, your headset goes flat, you can pop them in the case and it starts charging, and the little icon at the front is LED and lights up, which is so cool. I also have a charging dock from Formex that sits by my front door, so when I come home, I just put my glasses on it and they're always ready and charged to go. So I highly recommend having like a dedicated spot to charge it, kind of like your phone, because it is technology, it needs to be charged, and I really enjoy my charging dock. Okay, I mentioned it at the start and I want to properly discuss this in detail because it's pretty relevant and important right now, and it's been something that's been on my mind a bit. Now, there are two sides to the privacy question. The first one is the social aspect. We already live in a world where people film strangers all the time without their consent, and with a phone, it's usually obvious if someone's filming you. Whereas with these, there's a small indicator light, but people have already figured out how to cover it. And I don't love the idea of talking to someone who's secretly just listening to a podcast or something, because that's just bad manners. The big issue that's been in the news recently is that there's now a class action lawsuit that's been filed against Meta over these glasses. An investigation found that third-party contractors may have been reviewing footage from users' glasses cameras as part of the AI training, and apparently included some pretty sensitive stuff. But here's the important part. Photos and videos you take stay on your device unless you actively share them with the Meta service, and the glasses aren't always on They're not like surveillance cameras. The concern is specifically around the AI assistant features, like when you say, hey Meta, what am I looking at? So when you use the live AI and ask it to look at something, that footage can be sent off for a review. I am pretty sure you can turn this off in the settings, and they say it's in the terms of service, so recommend having a read of them. But practically speaking, if you're mainly using these as a camera and for music like I do, you're probably fine. But when you lean into the AI features, the data is going somewhere potentially. Meta says it discloses human review in its terms of service, but it does create a few alarm bells. And Meta doesn't have the best history when it comes to privacy concerns. But is there such a thing as data privacy anymore? I don't know, they probably know more about me than I know about myself. It has made me reconsider using the glasses, but at this point, I do enjoy the tech, and I'm just going to be a lot more mindful of the AI features. And I feel sorry for anyone who has to see a gazillion photos of the different plants in my garden, because that's all I'm really using them for. So are the Ray-Ban Metas actually worth it? Well, when I got the first Gen 1s, I wasn't sold. I barely used them, but since switching to Gen 2s with proper polarized lenses and using them consistently, they've definitely grown on me. The POV camera is the star of the show. It's fun, it's creative, and practically useful in ways I didn't expect. The speakers are a solid bonus, and the AI stuff has its moments, even if Meta is overselling it, but I could go without it, to be honest. And of course, the privacy stuff is a big red flag, but I'll let you make your own decisions about that. When buying them, the Gen 1s are cheaper if you are just testing the waters, but the Gen 2 has a better battery life, so that's the main difference between them. Just think hard about the lenses before you order them, or go to a shop and test them maybe, because these transition lenses are absolutely useless as actual sunglasses, at least in Australia. But I'll link everything about them down below, including the charging dock I use, and let me know if you've got any questions. Make sure to follow my Instagram, because I sometimes post some gardening stuff up in there. But if you enjoy more general tech reviews, let me know. I mostly post about VR and gaming stuff, so make sure to subscribe if you like that content. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.